I don't know if anybody really knows in the room, but there have been, these reports are required every 8 years, is that right? Have they, is there any history of these reports, no matter how good they might have been, having done any good? I mean, is anybody, they get submitted,
Tell us what you really think. Tell us what you really think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the report gets submitted to the legislature. That's why it's being done, right? Because it's required by statute. And so it gets submitted to the legislature. And you might have good ideas here. I mean, there might be some good ideas in some of the report. But is there any likelihood a report like this actually achieves anything? Because when the legislature gets it, I can't really picture legislators spending much time. And I mean, if legislators particularly, I was saying this to Jonathan this morning, but if legislators spend any time on LMF for the next year, they're going to be zeroed out for rounds. They're going to be zeroed in on this huge emerging issue, which is we're shut down. They're not going to be worried about how to, get the website a little better or something. And so I just want, but I don't know whether historically even a report like this does actually any good.
Yeah, my sense, if you look at the emerging issues that were identified in 2001 and 2008, I think the benefit of doing this, it's an internal review of your own program. And the benefit is it gives the board an opportunity to look at what are the things on our horizon that we need to pay attention to and be responsive to. So I think, is there a benefit in doing it? I think absolutely there's a benefit to the board in doing this. Does the legislature look at this and say, conserving regional landscapes, that's something I'm going to focus on for my term? Probably not. But I think it is something absolutely beneficial for the board and for applicants in getting a pulse on where are we at, what have we accomplished, and where are we going.
And I think if the board, if the staff guides, and you almost have to guide the board in this, but if the staff guides the board to take the report and wrestle with it and think through some of the ideas that have come up and how to improve processes, I mean, that's all good operations. I do think that this board in the next unknown amount of time going into the future is going to have a hard time spending much time on these kind of issues because we're basically shut down, and until we feel like we can really do something again, and we'll have plenty of time to work on emerging issues once we hear the green light's been turned on. But until then, it's hard to get very excited about it.
Thanks, Ben. I have a comment regarding, I guess, where the whole appraisal and valuation piece fits into the emerging issues. We spent a fair amount of time discussing it at the workshop. Some of us spent an incredible amount of time dealing with the appraisal process. And a lot of our credibility to the administration and the public rests on that whole question of, are we doing everything we can? Are we doing it right? Does the process allow us to do the best possible job in dealing with those public dollars and ultimately dealing with appraisals? And I guess I'm not sure, or I don't understand why that element is not included as part of the emerging issues.
Well, the three emerging issues that we discussed today were the three that emerged from your last workshop, in Forest Products Council. That's where we allocated time to want to present because those positions were wants rates.
I hope that maybe rises to the level of getting some additional consideration. Because as you may well have heard, there are a lot of barriers to us doing the kind of job we might like to because of who we are, how the system operates. We continually want to do a better job and improve our ability.
One concern that I have, and I think Dan has commented on it, is around related to this workshop we had was 1 2-hour period or whatever. We did not have a quorum at that point. We had one commissioner there who basically asked questions and didn't contribute anything. So we have a large body of knowledge with 3 commissioners that serve a large public responsibility in their roles for various departments. that have really not weighed in on any of this information. So it's been a small group of this public board. So I'm not sure we're doing that emerging issues justice because of the way we're doing it and without the lack of quorum or participation of professionals, so to speak, that is supposed to be weighing in here, that we're getting really to the crux of some of the emerging issues that may clearly be emerging issues, but we just don't know about it because we don't have any interaction with commissions when they don't show up. So I've got some concerns of how valid these issues will be, no matter how much work we put into them, if we don't have that level of expertise participating.
Well, I think Ben mentioned earlier that I had a chance to sit down with him at that time with Bill. The plan is to make sure that we've had a lot of conversation with every member of the board around this process to get feedback on the emerging issues, but also how we frame that and what recommendations might look like. So I've been able to talk a bit with Commissioner Whitcomb about that. Commissioner Kelliher and Woodcock are on the main short list. So we'll be able, at least from what I've gathered from them, to make sure that whatever key report packet, October 6th, whenever the packet goes out, includes their input as well.
Other board questions or comments?
I understand these emerging issues are important, and to give us an opportunity to really consider again our process. Why don't you shut it down? Why can't we continue to work and develop and work on the emerging issues at the same time? I'm looking back at the hand of 2001 GEA report, number 3, workload at the board level. Success of the LMF program is due in large part to the quality, commitment of the board, maintaining sectionals in the future, avoiding board member burnout will be essential. Well, you've essentially taken care of that. We don't have anything to do. And if that is still a valid concern, I don't think keeping us halfway in the dark is going to help maintain the excellence. I don't know about the rest of the board, but I'm completely if you're doing due diligence at some point, I hope you start speaking to some of us. I haven't spoken yet. I know there's a lot of concern about how the diligence, but I mean, it's a two-way street. You got to do yours too. And let's live up to the commitment that the state wants. And these are voters that approve these warrants. I'd love to continue on this, and I will still continue. I love working with this staff. I love the board. But Jesus, I'm pissed off. I can't do anything. I sit rolling my thumb up my ass.
Okay, let's be reminded, we've got other opportunities here for broader comments. Jonathan and Sarah, right now, we're dealing with the question of GEA report. Thanks for your comments, Jonathan. Ben?
I didn't raise my hand, but I do endorse what other fellow board members have said today, for sure. I said to Jonathan this morning, and there's certainly a lot of other individuals who would also be very knowledgeable and helpful, and who have a lot of experience with LMF, and particularly ones who've worked for LMF in the recent past. I mean, staff. I mean, I know Ed Meadows has been generous of both his time and his thinking, and he's a good example, and I hope his input's been caught. I also commented that when my first term on LMF, I had the privilege of working with Ken Glidden and Steve Brooks as director and assistant director, and those two guys are hugely knowledgeable about LMF and its processes and its strengths and weaknesses, and their knowledge is not so out of date that it isn't totally relevant. And you may well be talking to them, I'm not sure, but people like that, and there are others. I would, if you want to do the best report possible, and whether it's useful now or it really isn't going to be useful 3.5 years from now or something, but whenever it becomes useful, to have the input of guys who really know LMF inside and out. I mean, it seems like kind of a no-brainer. I hope they reach out and just see the extent to which they want to share their thinking.
I'm assuming the board has pretty much reached out, shared that we do have an opportunity to continue with that process. I think that we'll take a few minutes now and to allow for some public comment here. And be reminded that the public comment right now relates to this GEA report. And try to confine yourself to that. There'll be another time and another place perhaps for broader arguments and concerns, but we'll take a few minutes.